Hey everyone, this is Melissa, and I am your talkative introvert. I will be. I am. I am the talkative introvert. I will work on that intro. Anyways, welcome to my podcast. As you can tell from the title of my podcast, I am an introvert, and I love to talk. On top of that, I really love podcasts. I mean, it's the perfect platform for a talkative introvert. If you're an introvert, you probably get that. If you're an extrovert, you may not, but hopefully, if you listen to my podcast, you'll understand why that is. So, here's a little introduction, an intro of the intro, if you will. Again, my name is Melissa. I've been wanting to start a podcast for quite some time now, but I kept holding it off. After talking to my cousin, I realized I should just do it already. There's really nothing's actually stopping me, so here I am. Shout out to my cousin. Thanks, Casey. She'll definitely be a guest on this podcast, but I'll get to that in a second. I think the main thing that was stopping me was the fact that I would be putting myself out there for the world to listen, you know, assuming people are listening. Anyways, that's pretty terrifying. Um, just my thoughts out there forever, and then for literally anyone to listen to. But then there's the other aspect of it. Would anyone even be interested? Would I get a lot of listeners? Will this become successful, etc.? But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it for myself. Even if I don't get a bunch of listeners, it's just something fun to do. It'll be a little archive of my thoughts. Then I was thinking, well, who would be my audience? Who am I actually talking to? I thought at first introverts, they'll be my audience. That makes sense, right? Introverts talking to introverts. But then I was thinking it'd be great for extroverts too. I think it'd be great if someone heard this and really resonated with it and said to themselves, maybe this is something I can share with my extrovert friends and family members. They can tell their friends, families, hey, this might help you understand me a little better and understand people like me. Like if someone's having a hard time explaining why they are the way they are, this podcast can help with that. I definitely struggle with that because there are very few introverts in my family. I do want to say that by no means do I speak for all introverts, of course. Everyone has their unique personalities. I also honestly believe there's a spectrum. Not everyone's 100% one thing and 100% the other. I personally definitely lean very strongly on the introvert side of the spectrum, but I would say that occasionally I have some extrovert tendencies. Rare, but it comes out sometimes. I I'm guessing I'm more like a 80-20, 90-10. Oh, I don't know if it's that extreme. Maybe. But we'll see. So this first season, I wanted to start talking about the basics, if you will. What does being an introvert mean? What does it mean to me? Maybe get into some misconceptions, things I've experienced, both positive and negative, and also get some perspective from some extroverts. That's where my ray of sunshine Casey comes in. At the time of this recording is currently, let's see, May 12th, 2020. As most of you know, parts of the world is on lockdown due to COVID-19 and parts of America are quarantined to their homes. Being the beautiful extrovert that she is struggling over here with the lack of human interaction. If you live in California like we do, you know that the bars are closed, the clubs, gyms, restaurants, and just basically any type of facility or business that attracts large groups of people. As an introvert, I'm struggling a tad not seeing people, but it's definitely not as bad as her. Wanted to take a little pause here. So I do want to acknowledge that I know there are definitely other very serious issues out there pertaining to the coronavirus, but I'm not going to get into that. I don't really want my podcast to be too controversial. I don't want to talk about politics or religion or anything like that. There's so much of that already in the world and on social media. I don't think I really need to cover any of that. And I'm going to do my best not to let any super controversial topics seep into this podcast. I don't know where my podcast will go in the future, but for now, I'm just going to stray away from those conversations. Anyways, back to my cousin. The reason I'm bringing her up is because we were chatting one day about how she was struggling with this quarantine situation and not being able to socialize. I told her, Why doesn't she do some daily vlogs? I thought how interesting and fun it would be to just talk about how the quarantine has affected introverts and extroverts differently. I told her I'd love to be a guest if she wanted one. Then she helped me realize I should just go for it. Do my podcast because I do have some topics in mind that I'd love to talk about. Being a guest for one vlog just isn't enough. There's so many things to talk about, and if people enjoy hearing me ramble, then that's great too. Plus, with my own podcast, I can decide what to talk about and when. Well, that kind of feeds into my type A personality, but that could be its own episode. That will be a fun one. See, already thinking about other episodes. Alright, I hope that intro was somewhat interesting. If you didn't like it, well, you probably didn't make it this far. So, for those who stuck around, I hope to make this a regular thing. I still have a day job, I still have to pay bills, so we'll see what making this a regular thing will mean. Um, Again, this is Melissa, and I am the talkative introvert.